Testing. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Okay. Let's fucking do this. Sip of my juice. I'm absolutely parched. I'll be quite frank, I'm absolutely parched. Welcome to Fred on Film. Foff. You're back. I'm back. We're back. This is a fantastic week's worth of content I'm bringing to you here, consisting of chatting about Thunderbolts, Last of Us, Havoc, Fountain of Youth trailer, Predator trailer, Heads of State trailer, Mountain, just lots of fun things to bring your way. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's get going, okay? First of all, follow me on Letterboxd, Fred Asquith, same display picture. Watch this on YouTube if you're not. Subscribe on YouTube, at Fred Asquith YT. Get on there, right? Because I've got a full setup here. I've got a giant fucking orange sofa and a neon sign. You telling me you don't want to see that? You telling me you don't want to see my ugly mug? Hey? Obviously filming it for the reels and the shorts, in which case, if you want to see them, go to the Instagram, at Fred Asquith on Film. Go to TikTok, at Fred Asquith on Film. It's all there. The structures are in place for you to consume this piece of content in any which way you please. Any which way. Okay. I'd like to start with my first note. And my first note says, Thunderbolts is the longest advertised movie of all fucking time. You'll be listening to this with Thunderbolts having just come out on the weekend of the, can't do the math, something like the 3rd of May. It's literally 2 days away. I can't do the math because I don't know if there's 30 or 31 days in May. Okay, in April. Fuck. Whatever. And I put this on my broadcast channel. I've got a Fred on Film broadcast channel on my profiles. And I put Thunderbolts marketing campaign started before I was fucking born. Because that's literally how it feels. I was seeing trailers for this. I've been seeing that fucking trailer. The one where it's like, I would like not to die today. That guy in the back of the car. And Florence Pugh going, so what is this? We have no powers? All we do is punch and shoot? Right? Not a bad impression. I could do that role. I've seen that trailer thousands of fucking times. It feels like for months. It's so weird how sometimes they hammer the marketing, and then other times something will come out and they just literally fart it into 3 screens and forget about it, put it on Netflix. Like Black Bag, the Steven Soderbergh film. No one fucking knew that came out. Like my mum, who is always my example as the common person, would love to see Black Bag. She ain't got a fucking clue it came out, but I'll be damn sure she'll know that Thunderbolts is coming out. She don't give a shit. 100% she don't give a shit. I haven't asked her. I'm not saying Thunderbolts looks bad necessarily. I actually think it looks quite refreshing for Marvel, and they must be pushing it because they think it's good. But what the fuck? How long do you have to market this film, which is new characters? Like, just chill, okay? It's felt like forever. And then this fucking trailer came on TV or something. I was like, right. When is this film coming out? When is this film coming out? Like, when am I not going to see this trailer running in just general circulation? Before Sinners, probably before Black Bag? In fucking February or some shit. Honestly. Right. Moving on. Sip of my juice. I really am. I'm absolutely parched, I'll be honest with you. That's my corporate guy voice if anyone watches my stupid stuff on my personal profile. Finally, I'm absolutely fucking parched. I'll be honest with you. I can't feel my throat. Fuck. Great. Can't feel my throat. That guy makes me laugh. It's me. Yeah, I'd like to talk about Last of Us. I mentioned that I had an affinity for season 1 because but during which me and my now beloved fiance bonded. So we're now watching season 2 together, and episode 1 we discussed on a previous show. was, in keeping with season 1. Episode 2, I just felt all these flutterings but this is going to be spoilers, by the way. All these flutterings that these Last of Us gamers, of which I am not one of, I've completely fucked the syntax of that. I noticed they were all saying, "Oh, you have no idea what's coming. Like, you don't know what's coming." And I was like, "Is it just a few zombies? Because I'd fucking like some." Like, it felt like season 1 didn't give me enough zombies, and now it feels like season 2 and episode 1 wasn't either. You have no idea. You have no idea. Anyway, turns out they were right. I've never seen that. I've never seen that many zombies in my entire life on one screen. They all just came out of the fucking snow and started towards the town or whatever. And then at the end of it all, Pedro Pascal got popped. He got popped. What? No way. No way. What the fuck? I have no critique to say about this show other than the noises that I just made. And just to say, it's a welcome change from the status quo of this show, just to have like a fucking shitload of zombies. I know there's been zombies, but there's only been 1 or 2, and then a lot of it's just been relationship drama. Now we've got a shitload of zombies, and we've got a fucking crazy plot, not a twist, but plot point. Pedro Pascal got popped. I'm looking forward to episode 3. Let's fucking go. Is it Caitlin Denver? Is that her name? Who's like playing the leader of it? Is Caitlin Diva? Anyway, she's great, and she's in one of my favorite rom-coms, and maybe one of my favorite films ever, Booksmart. If you haven't seen Booksmart, go give it a go. It was like came after all the kind of knocked up generation of like improv rom-coms, and felt like it was the last good one, really. It felt like a high school comedy rom-com that was actually good. 20 years after high school comedy stopped being good, and 10 years after rom-coms stopped being good. Yes, now let's move on to MobLand, which is also getting good. What's going on? Need another sip of my juice. Great, absolutely great. Need another sip of my juice. MobLand is also getting good. Now, we're in episode 5 of MobLand now. Also spoilers for this, by the way. But I said on a previous episode of FOF that I don't think it was really cooking with gas. Specifically Tom Hardy. I'm not sure he was like carrying the weight of a Guy Ritchie lead role in terms of his dialogue deliveries and whatnot, as well as he could have. And anyway, it's picking up. This episode 5 was set at the funeral of a competitor family's son, and the Harrigans, the protagonist family, have a hand in this son's death. And Richie, the competitor family's patriarch, is fucking fantastic. And like, I actually don't need to go through and describe the whole plot of this episode, but just to say it really is picking up. And I had this conversation with my mum on WhatsApp this morning. She mentioned we were talking about Havoc on our family WhatsApp group, and I'll actually talk about Havoc after this. But just to say, speaking of Tom Hardy, have you been keeping up with MobLand, Mum? Because it's getting really good. My sister said, "Oh yeah, I'll give it a go," and I was like, "Yeah, blah, 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 shut up." And then Mum said, "Yeah, Lord Thomas of McHard is mint, which is a northern colloquialism for very good. If anyone doesn't know that." I said, "Yeah, he's getting better." It really felt like he was getting better in this episode. It felt like they must have filmed this chronologically, obviously, episode by episode, and it felt like he clicked. I know they filmed it chronologically actually, because when I did the premiere job, they said the scripts weren't even ready episode by episode. It felt like he's clicking now. It feels like he's at peace with like the vibe of character that he is, because, you know, looking forward to Havoc that we're talking about next, and Venom and the Cray twins and the character in Warrior. He normally plays like much more wired characters. He's normally this kind of like, eyebrows and like eyes and fucking where and fucking Peaky Blinders. Like he's normally the wired like fucking nuts character with an edge. And in MobLand, he kind of has to have an edge, but he has to be a family man, and he has to be not secondary to Pierce Brosnan's patriarch of the Harrigan family, but certainly not primary. Like, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. And I felt like he was struggling to hit a vibe of like, how do I be the guy without being the guy? Because he kind of still has to be the guy. Do you know what I mean? Just like the person who's like kicking ass and taking names. But I feel like he's finally settled into it. And so I said, yeah, he's getting better. I wasn't keen on his performance at first, but I think it's clicked and the story has clicked. I said my least favourite performance is Helen Mirren's. What do you think? Mum said, I worry that I don't want to comment more on women's performances more than men's just by default, but her accent isn't working for me. And I said, I thought about this, because I did. I thought, am I just, I don't want to criticise Helen Mirren just because she's like a woman in this traditionally masculine show. Anyway, it turns out I'm not. That's it. Turns out I'm not, and turns out my mum isn't either. Because I was first criticising Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy was my first criticism. I also think Paddy Considine is miscast. So we went into this. I said, no, I'm not criticising Helen Mirren. First was been Tom Hardy. Paddy Considine's miscast. I think the kid Eddie sucks buttholes, I said. But Helen Mirren, I think I expect more of because of her pedigree, but I also think is due criticism due to her accent and depiction of this character. Mum said, yeah. I said, in fact, it's an odd show, because I was like, I'm criticising a lot about this show, specifically the performances, and I was like, in fact, it's an odd show, because I think it's less than the sum of its parts, while simultaneously being really good and entertaining. Do you know what I mean? And my sister piped back in and said, yeah, it sounds rubbish, actually. I might not check it out. And I said, no, do. And my mum said, oh my God, yes. Why do we even like it? And I was like, I don't know, actually. Because a Guy Ritchie project with Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, Tom Hardy, Paddy Considine, you'd be like, that's gonna be the best fucking show ever made. And it's not. It's actually entertaining in a way that you'd expect from a show that didn't have all those people in it. You'd be like, oh, I've just caught this thing, MobLand, and like, it's a bit shite, but it's really floating my boat on a Sunday when I'm just feeling a bit tired. And like, it's kind of like schlocky B-movie TV. And yet it's got all these brilliant people in it and Guy Ritchie's names on the billboard. It's a really funny, weird show. Definitely less than the sum of its parts, but also fucking brilliant at the same time. I really enjoyed that observation. Which then brings me on to Havoc, which is the new Tom Hardy film. Again, Tom Hardy's busy. I'll take a sip of my juice. Tom Hardy, again, working with... Oh, I really want to remember the name of this director. Hold on. I think it's Gareth. The director is Gareth Evans. And Gareth Evans has previously directed the Raid movies, right? So this guy is a Welsh film director, right? And action choreographer. And I think that's where his history in the business is. And he started off, essentially got his big break directing the Raid movies, which are Indonesian action crime films, right? And if you haven't seen the Raid movies, go see them. There's 3 of them, and they're all insane. The action choreography in those is out of this world, right? I put this on with my beloved fiance, and I was like, okay, this guy does fucking nut stuff. She hasn't seen the Raid. I was like, this guy does fucking nut stuff, so strap in. Anyway, the first 40 minutes was actually like quite kind of procedural. It was like looking at the crime scene, Tom Hardy going to see his ex, and like it was all that kind of classic cop crime drama tropes. And I was like, oh, it's interesting because this, I said to my fiance, this director's known for like nutty action in like a building block where guys are getting their arms broken and like fucking shit through the eyeball and stuff. And she was like, what? Anyway, about 50 minutes in, it turned. And I was like, I know why this is called Havoc. I previously previously thought it was called Havoc because the story was all over the shop. I said to her, I was like, I don't know what's happening here, but I think I'm enjoying it. And she said, yeah, she actually did know what was happening. She's really good at keeping up with shows. She digests very well the plot. She digests plot very well. I'm not a very good plot guy. So she was keeping up. She kind of filled me in. Anyway, just as I felt like I was catching up with this, the film completely fucking switched and turned nuts in like the best and worst way, in a way. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but then also, wow, this is incredible. It kind of kicks off with this action fight scene inside a nightclub. And I don't know how else to describe it. It's fucking Havoc. It is Havoc. The action that is going on, it's like Jason Bourne met Nobody, met Taken, met The Equalizer, met The Accountant on fucking steroids, and they all shagged and had this weird gremlin baby. Like, it's crazy. If you like action choreography, just give it a watch. And I have no review of that beyond that. I haven't even fucking rated it on Letterboxd. Like I didn't even view it as like a filmic experience. I was just like, what the fuck? It was just all happening way too fast in that second half of that movie. I forgot to even rate it on Letterboxd. I don't know what I'd give it. It did what it said on the tin for sure, and it did what it fucking wanted to do. So that's the best way to review films, isn't it? Like, did it achieve what it set out to achieve? And if that's like to be an absolute bullshit, like wank comedy that's released on Netflix, like maybe you should rate it as such, you know? It doesn't need to be The Godfather. Havoc set out to be absolute fucking havoc, and it really achieved it. So it does feel a bit derivative to give it what would probably be quite a low rating, because I didn't really get anything from it. So yeah, give it a go. I'd like to speak about 4 trailers. The Fountain of Youth trailer is a new trailer which is a kind of National Treasure-esque film starring John Krasinski, Eliza Gonzalez, Natalie Portman, Domhnall Gleeson, and Stanley Tucci, right? And the reason I very pointedly say this is National Treasure Core, it's National Treasure coded, pardon the pun, because I'm such a huge fan of National... Holy fuck, it's directed by Guy Ritchie. Hey, the conversation's got little threads in this podcast. MobLand, Guy Ritchie, Tom Hardy. Havoc, Tom Hardy. Fountain of Youth, directed by Guy Ritchie. So he directed the first 2 episodes of MobLand and then fucked off to do this, what feels like a cash grab movie for him. It doesn't feel like a Guy Ritchie film from the trailer. What does that even mean nowadays? Now he's done all the Sherlocks and stuff. Who knows? But that's interesting. But I'm a huge fan of the National Treasure films. There's only 2 of them, and there should be more. There should be more. I wrote a comment, which I never do, on the trailer for the YouTube trailer for this Fountain of Youth, which is literally does what it says on the tin again. It's about finding the Fountain of Youth, just going on a journey far and wide to find this literal pool of water. And that's just so National Treasure to me. And National Treasure itself obviously is derivative of Indiana Jones, but like I'm fine with that. And there's only 2 National Treasures, and I wrote down a note saying, films I wish had more sequels, right? Which is a feature that I thought I could talk about on this podcast. And I wrote a list, and it says National Treasure, comma, and then there's no more. And then I just didn't write any more. National Treasure, comma, there's a space, nothing else. Just I would love a National Treasure 3. And that's about it. I feel like everything else that could or should have a sequel kind of did. But National Treasure 3, I'd still have that. And Nicolas Cage has had a little Cage-essence since then, you know? A Nicolas-essence since that second film. So just give it a go. Justin Bertha is his name, the comedy guy. God, he's great. So, Fountain of Youth, I wrote a YouTube comment saying, I'm going to tell my kids this was National Treasure 3. Standard comment, wank, but I mean it. I'm excited for it. Touching on the Predator Badlands trailer. So this is off the back of the film Prey, which was a brilliant film I ended up catching on Disney Plus last year or the year before. It's kind of a prequel-y sequel. I think it's a prequel technically. It was very kind of boiled down, but I'm describing this terribly, but basically it's part of the Predator universe, right? And Predator Badlands is a follow-up to this. But the interesting part of this Predator Badlands trailer was that the protagonist is the Predator itself. And it looks like some of it is set on the Predator's planet. This makes me nervous. You do not need to see where the monster comes from. It's the same as everything. It's like E.T., Jaws. Does it matter where the shark, like how the shark grew up? How the shark got there? No. It's just fucking there, bro. It's just fucking there. And like, Prey was that good, and this is the same creator that, you know, I'm sure this might be okay, but as a pure foundational concept, the Predator itself being the protagonist, I think I'll be catching this one on streaming again. A quick note for the Heads of State trailer. This is an upcoming comedy action starring Idris Elba as the British Prime Minister and John Cena as the American President. And that's all you need to know, folks. That's all you need to know. Do you want to see John Cena being a slightly hapless president and Idris Elba being a super cool prime minister who knows how to use weapons? Yeah, absolutely. I actually think John Cena is a massively underrated comedy performer. Underrated. I think even just his few scenes in Trainwreck, the Amy Schumer comedy rom-com, I thought he's brilliant in that film. He's brilliant. And I think that the clips I saw of him in Argyle, it looked like he was doing a decent job as well. But I didn't see the whole of that film. I walked out. But I'm excited to... Look, it's probably not going to be, again, The Godfather, but I'm excited to see John Cena do some super comedy with Idris Elba, who is also a screen presence I absolutely love. Final point here today is about the trailer for Mountainhead, which is a new project from the writer creator of Succession, Jesse Armstrong, who is also known as being the co-creator and co-writer of British legendary British comedies such as Peep Show, In the Loop, and Fresh Meat, Four Lions. He's one of the goats of British comedy, and then went to America, smashed America, wrote Succession, one of the most successful, what would you say, dramas of all time. HBO won shitloads of Emmys, and now he's coming back with Mountainhead, which is starring Steve Carell chiefly, and 3 other people, in this kind of what looks like a one-location setup of 4 business leaders coming to a summit at Mountainhead, I assume. And then as they have that summit and talk about how rich they are, the world starts falling apart on the news, on the TV. And this was an interesting trailer to me because I really respect the hustle of Jesse Armstrong, and I respect that he's working within a similar lane to what got him so successful in America, Succession. And I love Steve Carell in that kind of dramatic but comedy role. But I did feel watching it, I was like, I was quite done with the Succession shtick by the end of Succession. And I don't really feel a massive drive to see this opening night. You know what I mean? I actually think it's going to be on HBO, so that'll mean it'll come out on Now TV. Maybe it'll get released in cinemas, I'm not sure. But I don't think I need to see more Succession, and this looks so Succession coded. I like that phrase today, don't I? It's almost like it could be another season boiled down into one film. Then again, I think what one thing I didn't like about Succession by the end was it felt like it was extrapolating that concept out way beyond its means or what it required. And so maybe that kind of vibe within the confines of a film might be something that I like. So I'll definitely give it a watch. Also, news on that, interesting fact on that one. It got finished right. He finished writing it. He cast it and shot it within the last 4 months. And now there's a trailer out within the last 4 months. That's how these one location things go, eh? Because like Charlie Brooker said about Black Mirror that they shoot these things fast, and that's how they get the big actors now, because they have like very light touch commitments for Black Mirror. It'll be like 10 days for Paul Giamatti on the set of Eulogy, for example. I'm just kind of plucking a number out my arse, but something like that. And it feels like that's what's gone on here with Mountainhead. It feels like they've kind of got these actors in a couple of weeks, one location, smash it out. So, hopefully it's a little bit of fun. I've been successful in achieving what I wanted to achieve, which was a tighter episode this week, so that these episodes can continue to feel like efficient, interesting, fun, and just not too baggy. Because, again, I've got podcasts lined up in my podcast app from 2 weeks ago, and I just can't get through these fucking things because they're I haven't been over an hour yet, so and I'll pledge to you I'll never go over an hour. I'm 100% certain of that. I've got podcasts that are hour and a half, 2 hours, and some of them are just chatting shit, and I end up just mark them as played, can't be arsed, move on. So if you got this far, thanks very much. And if you did get this far and you don't follow the Instagram at Fred Asquith on Film, or the TikTok the same at, or you don't follow the subscribe to the YouTube at Fred Asquith YT, then do so. Because if you got this far, it means you must have some level of interest to do so. So thank you very much for being here. Thanks for being at Fred on Film, fourth. And I will see you next time.